Hello, superstars! It's Sunday, and I want to share with you that it's almost 6 years since I committed my life to meditation. It was my second commitment to myself. The first one was bodybuilding at 17 February 1999, and then I had my meditation, and that was November 6th, 2019. And ever since, I have meditated every day, and I know that it's mysterious. What is meditation and why do I talk about it so much? And if you notice that there's a noise in the background, that's a typical thing about mindset. That no matter what happens in the world, it's about how I react to the circumstances, and I don't let that become the kind of the state of mind of my life. So it's really about mastering the mind and master your life. I just finished doing my self-care routine with my Theragun all over my body, and I do that every week. And I want to celebrate that I have won and conquered my sleep, and I have never slept as great as I do now and longer than ever, and I'm dreaming vividly and several dreams a night. And since I've always been into dream interpretation, I am stoked that I got this back. For years I didn't have any dreaming, and I know for one reason why. Because I love my cannabis, and in California, where you have access to that, it just kind of interrupted my sleep, and I didn't know. What I loved about cannabis is the relaxation part of it. It didn't really do anything more than that. It didn't make me have a couch lock. It didn't make me sleep for 12 hours. It pretty much just felt like a half glass of wine from the start of my first time, 2014. And so when I came to Sweden, I let that go, and I noticed that all my dreams got introduced to them, to my mind and to my night. So that was the best gift. I have managed and succeeded to sleeping well every night, that I trust my way to sleep, and that I'm doing it with dreams. So every day when I wake up, and I'm excited, and memorizing my dreams and interpreting them is just such a great mindful practice. And right now I'm waiting for my sister. I'm putting on band-aids for my blistered feet. I have plantar fasciitis that I'm just managing and keep on walking slowly. I have been going to nature 2.5 hours a day for the last weeks. And today is another fall day that is just beautiful. The trees are in their best fall condition. The sun is shining, it's cold, and everything is still. And when I go into my forest walks, I feel so at ease, and I feel peaceful, and all my problems kind of just dissolve. And that is why I want you to really think about the best commitment you can make for yourself on a self-awareness, self-development journey is meditation. When I sent out my newsletter today to my Iron Eagles in training, I expressed about my gratitude for mindfulness and for meditation. There's different kind of techniques, and I never sit in a lotus position and meditate. I do yoga nidra, which is a laying down. I do a seated one to relax. I do walking meditation. I do laugh hit intervals, and I do humming meditation. I do mobilize and meditate, which I have recorded for you on my paulinodin.uscreen.io. So I do all these various ways of practicing stilling my mind and find the peace of mind. And then when I was doing my Theragun today, I thought about, wow, the way, how can you cope with stress and anxiety? How do you manage? I thought, all you people, how do you stay calm and don't let stress get to you? How do you, enjoy today and not let your mind rush and speed away like you have a storm in your mind? How do you do that? And then I realized that I didn't remember, I forgot that how it felt to have a racing mind, the way that that's just the way it is. And most people end up trying to cope with alcohol, sleep meds, or cannabis, you know? So I don't want to do any of that, and I don't. So I have practiced meditation in order to always mastering my mind. Now I want you to know that I'm pretty much on the anxious nature, that all my life I've had this need to self-manage and be my own best friend for a reason. And that is, I've had this kind of worrying personality ever since I was a child. And to have that fear of almost like I don't even know what the big fear is, right? Like you just want to run away from the feeling, so I'm scared of the fear myself. Over time, that was something that then became a frustration. So pretty much all anxiety, fear of failure, fear of success, fear of death, fear of disease, fear of losing my fit body, fear of losing my friends, fear of losing my home, fear of losing income, all the fears, right? And where do you start and where do you finish? And in my past, when I tried to kind of find a way to think, reason it out, like really deep, reflect, thought after thought, organize it, analyze my mind, it never got me any feeling of tranquility. It didn't still my mind, it didn't calm me. It just became more of, you don't want to go to bed because there the thoughts become bigger and deeper, and so it becomes an even worse state of mind. For some reason, the dark thoughts always gets bigger and stronger at night. I don't know why. So that is why I love to meditate at night. So I lay down and I do yoga nidra and I focus on my breath. And when my mind drifts away and I get hijacked by thoughts and I catch myself being hijacked by my thoughts, I reduce again to focus on my thought stream of no thought. So sleep, I'm focusing on my breath through my breathing all the way down to my belly, and I feel the rise of my belly and then up again. So that is the whole focus and the discipline on that. And you can do music, you can have a beat of the clock, it doesn't matter. The whole thing is with regular practice and as time goes on, so you notice that you stop thinking. Actually, the space between thoughts become greater and you don't have the rushiness. Then you suddenly get lost in time. There is no time, and the deeper you go, the more you notice how much you separate yourself from this kind of identity you've made, and all you hold on to, all the life, the attachment, it starts to kind of disappear. It fades out, and that is such a relief from feeling that you need to power life or conquer life, or trying to stay afloat, and how are you gonna be able to keep going, when you feel so scared. And again, that is what nothing has helped me more with managing and solving than meditation. The reason why I notice, when you ask, like, I don't want to meditate, I don't feel any need to meditate, you might be that you don't have any fears and anxiety. So let me just kind of share with you what I have, so you can kind of see that you don't have to be a Buddhist or a Zen monk or someone who kind of live a spiritual life and has, the typical yoga person. I don't know what that is, but this is for having the best kind of life every day for me. For me, the most important thing is to enjoy the moment, to be here, present, and every day focus on what is good. Everything that I have that I'm grateful for, things that I do not want to take for granted. So in this kind of meditation or mindfulness lifestyle, it's about staying present and reducing fears, because fears are existing when you focus on the past and the future. There is no fear in the moment. So if you feel fears or anxiety, worry, it's because you're no longer present. And when you catch yourself that, of course I have these fears because I'm not present, it becomes very obvious. And when you get to that, noticing how your mind drifts away, and you then can kind of find a way to come to today and only be happy with what is today, and you don't have to plan your future, you don't have to worry about what might happen. It's the best gift. There's nothing, money can't buy it. You can't read enough books about it and think that's gonna replace the practice. There is not one way to do meditation, and there is not a certificate that tells you that you have become a great meditator. You can have meditation practice, but it doesn't mean anything. So it's really about kind of it's an anarchistic view that there is nobody else who can tell you that you're not doing it right and you're not doing it wrong, So it's really about fair and square, and it's the best thing you can invest in your own self-relationship. Absolutely. So fitness, body and mind building together, it's the perfect diet for mindset and for happiness and for self-knowledge. So that is the FighterDiet state of mind then that I want to talk about, because diet is all you consume. So what kind of thoughts do you think I can be consumed by if I don't watch my mind? Because remember, the mind is not the same as who I am, and I'm not my body, and I'm not my memories, and I'm not my feelings, and I'm not my experiences, but that is who I become this identity about. So if you now believe in the energy, you can't destroy or kill energy, and it lives forever. And when you come to that insight that you are just in this form, in this life, you don't have to hold on to it so hard. You don't have to be scared of losing, because it's not like you just have this life, right? Like in this form, as who you are right now, is what your life is about. But when you can step out of that and you see you're everything, which is part of the meditation experience, you don't need any weird drugs or any, drug-induced experiences. You don't have to take any psychedelics. This comes from getting mind space between thoughts, where you no longer use your intellect to reason and think, but it's beyond thought. Can you imagine? So it's like being in the zone, and being where you have a runner's high, and it's true bliss of when you feel, and you can't even verbalize it there, because then you lose this state of being instead of thinking. So when you realize you can be without thinking, now you're on to true joy that is long lasting and is for everyone, and you can learn how to extend this. Think about it like an orgasm that isn't sexual but life-wise presence, and it's not over in 3 seconds, and it's not based on a dopamine rush from having an ice cream, right? Like, it's something that is becoming more and more powerful and more life-changing. Just like when you train your body over time, you develop, and more you get stronger. It's the same thing, but you're opening up. My fears would be, typically on the weekends, I have this pattern in myself that I get very dark, I can get very depressive, I can get fears of, typically, what if I get sick? What if I get a disease I can't cure? What if I get an unknown bill all of a sudden? What if I get stuck, my sister, she's in an accident, what happens? What if I lose my family? What if I lose my work? What if I get hijacked again from social media, so I can't even have my business? What if I lose my, that my customers don't get a hold of me? What if I lose my mobility? All those things. What if I get affected by this or that? And then when I kind of think about it, what am I going to do with all these fears? Am I going to solve it? Because life is life, and life is simple because it is here. And it doesn't mean that as a human it's going to be easy to live life unless I know how to approach it. So that's where I practice that every day for myself. That Pauline, if you keep on focusing on everything you're scared of, and you want to solve everything and have a security, safety, everything, every step, that's not life. It's not an experience. That's some book that I kind of want to have a safe way. And then I ask myself, Pauline, is the plan to get out of life alive? Because that is not going to it's not gonna happen. And then I realized, what is it out of fear? What is death? What am I scared of there? And then typically I feel like, well, I'm not scared of death itself. No, of course not. But the dying, as in, the typically years ago I was terrified about dying under torture or dying because some kind of mass murder would kind of slowly, kill me, to be caught in those kind of circumstances. And that is not a healthy way to think, but somehow I forced myself to go through all these scenarios until I realized I'm not getting any happy by that. And I asked myself, Pauline, can you control all these things? Can you control what are you going to be affected by? Can you control all the cells in your body? No. Can you control the world? Can you control the conflicts? Do you know if there's a reason? Do you believe that the universe is perfect the way it is and everything here is the way it is? And just because it's not according to my personal liking doesn't mean that it has to be changed. Because no matter how I think, life keeps on going, the world keeps up going, the world evolves, doesn't stay the same. In my present, in this life, I can see it's good times and bad times, but as a whole, thinking from an outside perspective, if I were the whole universe, I wouldn't have so much stress or anger or fight about the things that are affecting me in my life. I wouldn't have a need to try to solve things that I don't have the power to solve on my own. So it gives a little bit of self-distance to, the difference between being very agitated and angry with what life is giving me, or what I feel that is unfair or not just, And then I ask myself at the same time, so what this just thing you talk about, Pauline, or the unfairness, or things that are giving you guilt, like, the environment, or how people are cared for or not cared for, or human, how we take care of dogs or cats or nature, environment, all those things. But when I can kind of observe it, seeing that everything is, look at history and look at the evolution, everything is working and evolving in its way without me pushing pressure. And then I ask myself again, Pauline, do you want to take an active role in giving my time to fight for all I feel is right? Which is great. But do I want to make my life about that, which might never be solved in my life? The crises, the problems that are in our lifetime, do I want to sacrifice my happiness that nobody can give me anyway? That even though everything would be solved in life, there would be no problems, then that would be the opposite to life. Because I ask myself, Pauline, if there's no problems, there won't be any progress. There won't be any reason to solve something or change something. And then when I get frustrated with things are slow or things are resistant or that people are, different opinions, I tell myself, Pauline, you have this set of opinions, but you can also see it from the other side. So I have conditioned myself to easily be able to see the other part's perspective. Even though I might think, as a Pauline, messed up, crazy, how can they? I can still take the other side and just, I see why they think my view is crazy, stupid, idiotic. So I can separate my Pauline being from at a bigger perspective to think about if I'm life or if I'm the universe. I wouldn't be so stressed out about my little life. I would have, that's okay. I don't have to solve everything in life. I don't have to achieve all my things on a list. I don't have to hold on to who I was or who I want to be. Or I can evolve and I can change and adapt. So when I'm then focusing on gratitude, that I'm grateful for having a healthy, strong body, and I trust that all my conditions and diseases will work itself out. And if I get struck by a disease, it's not something I'm going to be embarrassed by or feeling, that why me? Because maybe that is a blessing in disguise. Maybe my life isn't supposed to be to 95 years. I trust the universe, and I trust my own peace and my mind to, no matter what, commit to myself to be present, to focus on the good and enjoy life. that's why I wanted to meditate. That's why I'm having my meditation sessions, because this kind of mindset of having distance to all your fitness goals, all your body, when you stop criticizing your body and you accept and you're happy that you have a body, first of all, that you can experience life being yourself, do like me, walk in the forest, take care of your kids, that you have mobility, be grateful for that. And think about when you stop, focus too much on your surface and instead practice the lifestyle of eating healthy. No matter if you have the toughest time of your life or not, you want to take care of your body, you want to take care of your mind, eat good, train well, meditate, stretch, all those things in your daily routine. And focus on stress management and let go of trying so hard. Imagine then how you're going to be much more happy and feeling more satisfied and be proud of who you are and not need other people to validate you and appreciate you. You're not going to have anxiety about losing your youth or losing your hair or losing your, whatever you feel is the most important thing about you, that you feel if you don't have this anymore, people are not going to appreciate you. Think now, if you can master to appreciate yourself for you being the observation, being the person that are experiencing life, being you, instead of thinking that you need to scrutinize yourself from top to toe, when you kind of take a step back and thinking, I love training, I love to eat healthy, and I want to do that for myself instead of frustrating myself or be disappointed with my body. Because you cannot make your life about being a look or being a fit body. You can do that for some time when you're young and keep on chasing goals. It's biologically normal, natural. We're not as wise when you're young. And me too. I'm grateful that I had that drive. I'm grateful that I built my physique, that I was tough on myself, that I was hard on myself, that I didn't quit, that I was fighting myself to be from my weakness, that I expected, I demanded to do and become better. But then there comes a point in you when you have to kind of let go and realizing I'm not going to chase this anymore, because that chapter is now going to be another chapter in my book. To kind of revisit your goals, thinking that why am I doing this? And if you're fighting fatigue, exhaustion, or you have more than just think about your workout, in life. You have a family, you have a career, you have your garden, you have your house, you have your in-laws, you have your parents, all that. You want to give yourself grace and think that I am here to train to gain strength of mind and body. I don't lower my expectation or my pressure. I'm not weak. I just know what I want out of my fitness life. I know how I want to train and feel. I don't want to feel that I'm never doing good enough. I don't want to sign up for an overwhelming workout routine just to feel defeated and then sabotage again, because you can never be as good as you want to feel that you're proud. So you gotta want to accept that it's better to be not as good and be happy than to be perfect in your own book and be a slave to your own standards. And then if you kind of let yourself relax a bit, now you're not going to be holding up your standards anymore. Now you're going to beat yourself up about it. All that self-destruction just triggers you to not care and quit. And what is that? Probably gaining weight, because why would you care about your feelings if you feel that you're not worth it anyway? And if you don't feel that you're worth it, you're not worth healthy eating because your body won't look the way you have signed up for in your mind, then what is it all for? What are you going to be, are you going to want to feel that bad when you're older, if you're fortunate to be alive? I don't want to have that for myself. So I have chosen to love my body no matter how crappy skin, how saggy butt, how skinny or, normal bodied I'm going to be, because I committed to myself to the healthy lifestyle, which means naturally my body is gonna take the form of the lifestyle I practice, because that's the way it works. So there is no quitting on me, because I have just shifted from what is most important for myself to be from looks and doesn't have to feel good to the feeling it doesn't have to look good, but it does look good because I have changed my perception. I have no interest to criticize myself, to think that how dare I think that my body's good enough or perfect the way it is. I don't have to be perfect compared to other people, but I am, you know, that fight isn't there anymore. So when you have that, it's a big relief and relief from that pressure, self-pressure. And that's what meditation can do for you. So that's what I want you to know. Happy Sunday.